Brad, you mentioned you might have some lineup changes. What are the lineup changes?
Yeah, so we're going to start Turner for Smart and Jerebko for Sullinger. And so we'll go with Turner, Isaiah, Jay, Jerebko, and Amir. Obviously, there's certain things from the starting group as far as how we want to play, spacing-wise, those types of things factor in. Obviously, Jerebko gives you spacing, gives you some defensive versatility on the two bigs, and then Turner has been, along with Isaiah, really able to get into the paint and do certain things and consistently be able to attack throughout the first few games. So I think that's that. Sully and Smart are still going to play, big parts for us. So it's not like, and I've said this before about the guards, like you can just kind of throw a dart with those four guards and Smart being the fourth one tonight. They're all going to play 30-plus minutes for us on most nights.
Brad, is Kelly playing tonight?
From what I've heard, no.
Any updates on him at all?
Feeling a little bit better from what I've been told. Went through some shooting this morning. Didn't feel great this afternoon when he got here. Did not go through our shoot-around walkthrough. And I have not talked to Eddie since that. But because he didn't go through it and because he told me what he told me before, I've just assumed no. And that's what I was told before.
Coach, Bob Schramm, the Citizen. Coach, I know games look different when you watch them on film, but was offensive execution lacking?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think our guys, when I went back and saw what they had said, they summed it up well. I mean, we really got hit with a buzzsaw in that first 5 minutes of that game, and then we were playing uphill, and we were playing. In a different way than in the first game. Like in the first game, I felt like we were getting reasonable looks. We were doing the right things. We were in the game, but we just weren't making enough shots. And then we were able to get back in it by playing the same way, just a few went down. But in the second game, I didn't feel like we were at the same pace. Like I felt like Atlanta set the tone for the pace, and we never matched it. And so I think that had something to do with it. And then, hey, we've got to, be a little bit more aware and notice what they're doing, especially on the defensive end, to make the next right basketball play. Obviously, they're really flying around at a high level, and so I think that we need to play better out of the gate, but they're playing at a very good level.
Brad, Steve Belpet, Boston Herald. Has Kelly been trying to talk his way into the lineup? Has he just been being prevented from playing? And second part of that is I know you play with who you've got, but against this team, against Atlanta, he's kind of the outside guy, a big who can stretch is kind of a big deal.
So they've been working around the clock with regard to extra PT, extra STEM, et cetera, for Kelly to get back, and it's ultimately Kelly's call on that based on how he feels. And like I told you earlier, he's been playing through a lot of pain, and he got popped pretty good in the first game and aggravated in the first game. And the one thing that I know based on how he's been playing the last month is he would play if he could. Like I feel very strongly about that. The second thing with regard to Kelly's shooting is, hey, we're going to have to do some things that may be a little bit unique to generate the best looks, and the best looks may not be the traditional best looks. We're going to have to put Isaiah off the ball some. We're going to have to drive, kick. We're going to have multiple attacks to the paint instead of maybe just one attack, especially because of all the attention they're giving Isaiah at the rim. I was just asked on the radio before, about Isaiah. Isaiah's playing doing exactly what he did all during the regular season. He gets to the rim. He's able to come off the pick and roll. He's able to come off screens. He's getting there. There's just 3 or 4 guys there. And so we got to do a great job of staying spaced. And, Jonas will help that. And then, hopefully we're going to have to knock down some shots. And I believe that we will.
Brad, Mike Petralia, WEEI. How would you characterize the urgency the team is feeling, and do you think that can be a good thing?
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. I mean, we know where the series is. We know that we didn't play well on Tuesday night. It's not in our control at all, but we sure wish there weren't 72 hours between those 2 games. You could sense that at practice, but that's a fine line because we need to play urgent, but we have to play with the right poise and the right purpose, and we're going to have to do it for 48 minutes. It's not just about the first 2 minutes of the game, although clearly we have to start better. So, all that being said, it goes back to playing well as much of the time as possible.
Coach Mark D'Amico, Celtics.com. The starting group that you're sending out there tonight, what has been your sample size of watching that group play together this season, and what are some of the positives you've seen about how they play off of each other?
Well, they played a whole 33 possessions together. They're plus 20. So the sample size in an analytical viewpoint is not strong. But, I think that the one thing is you practice all year, you try different things. You're going to have moments like this, certainly, especially with Avery out, with Kelly out, where you're going to have to do some of that. And you know what? There's going to be groups off the bench that haven't played much together too. And any lineup with Terry and or RJ or both has not played very much for us. So, that's the way it is. That's why you practice all year, and that's why you play, and you find the synergy in practice. You believe in what you're supposed to do by doing it right, and you go out and do it.
Brad, Gary Washington, Boston Globe. Going back to Kelly, barring, let's say, Al Horford landing on his shoulder, it's just about his pain threshold. I mean, he couldn't make it worse by playing.
Well, I think anytime you have an injury, you can make it worse. There's no doubt about that. But he certainly, again, it's from what I've been told, from what I understand, he's got some issues with it shifting, and he's in a pretty good amount of pain.
Brad, Jake Fisher with Sports Illustrated. You mentioned the spacing earlier with the lineup changes. How much does Kelly impact the spacing when he actually is able to go?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at our season as a whole, we were playing at a really, really good level when he and Jonas were the backup 4-5 with that Smart Turner group when we were right before the All-Star break before he hurt his shoulder. So that allows you to do some things offensively, but we've had good moments when that's not been available. And that's the way that I'm looking at it right now is who's out there, who's available, and how do we make the most out of our possessions on offense and defense. We have guarded as well as I could have hoped in the first 2 games. Now we can do some things better, and there's some possessions that we screwed up and blah, blah, blah. But the effort, the intensity, most of that's been there the whole time. We just gotta find a way to score, and again, I believe that these guys will. They had a great practice yesterday. They're in great spirits today. We're excited to play, and let's go.